Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
And this is Ed Cohen in San Diego, California, and you are again on Global TVTalkShow.com. And welcome back. We've produced over 400 broadcasts in the last 2 years, and Google Analytics says that there's been over 170,000 page views. And so here we go. You're on this page and you're viewing, so maybe we'll hit 171. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for being with us. Felipe Datweiler in Santiago, Chile. Welcome. And
Hi, Ed.
Hi there. Rigoberto Vasquez and in Mexico City. Hi there. And Emily Braun in the Toronto area. Welcome again, Emily.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, great. Okay, we're going to have a talk show for less than 30 minutes. And so there'll be a need for information sharing outside of this program. So everybody out there, Emily Braun, Emily, B-R-O-N, emilybraun.com. That's her website. Go check it out. And Rigo, what's the website people can reach you at or email?
My full name, Rigoberto.Vasquez, as you can see, I think in the screen, at newlandchase.com. Yeah, or newlandchase.com on the web. Yeah, that's the main website.
Newlandchase.com?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. Felipe, what's your website or email?
Yes, you can reach me out at the wiseplan.cl. That is the local domain for Chilean companies. We have an approach of international contacts at this occasion. Please
Great.
find
Wiseplan.cl.
Yes.
Okay. And everybody, please use the chat to send each other messages. So let's talk with Felipe. Wiseplan. This is a smart approach to business management, right? Would you like to describe that just a little bit? Yes. Would you like to describe that?
Thank you. Sure. I'm pleased to explain you all that Wiseplan is a world-class consultancy service regarding human resources in 4 main areas, like headhunting for managers and decision makers, or very strategic positions within an organization. We are working especially with the landing of foreign companies in Chile. We proudly opened the operation for Under Armour in Chile, ASICS, Decathlon, that is a huge sport retailer. We are working with in the pharma industry and another different industrial sectors. We are composed with an experienced team that comes from the management line, and we are in the other side of the desk now hiring, because we had a lot of experience hiring people too when we were managers using different positions in companies. And now, beside the headhunting, we have a very interesting solution regarding the outsourcing of payroll. We are leveraged in a cutting-edge software, and we provide the senior consultants that process all the payroll for big companies.
And let me ask you about Under Armour. Are they manufacturing their sporting clothing? Philippe?
Yes, Under Armour has begun its operations at the year 2011 and 12. We were the nominated company to open the operations here in Chile regarding and supporting and being initially the extension of its human resource department with the 4 subsystems.
Good for you. That is a great accomplishment. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and so you talked about pharmaceutical. Is this a regional thing, or is it just from Chile? Just working on Chile? I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Chile is what I should say, right?
Yes, all operations that we are developing currently are being just in Chile, and we are looking for an expansion in different countries of the region, like Peru or Mexico. We are very interested due
Yeah,
to the
good. Well,
size of the
this will
market.
be very good conversation. Now, let's take that cue. Rigo, I know you are very interested in helping companies in Latin America use Mexico. So please introduce yourself again. You work for an immigration firm, but you take care of business in more than just immigration, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I have been involved in the immigration field like since 5, 6 years ago, and it's very connected with the mobility industry. So basically, I am helping companies to come and out around Latin America. And yeah, I have been working for Newland Chase, and now you can see also the LatAm Talks logo, which is part of my projects that I handle parallel. And you may see over there the QR code, which are kind of other streaming shows to talk about this thing in general.
Well, I know Patty, and she's been a guest on our show a couple of times. And I think I've been on her show at least once. So very interesting. And someday we're going to come back into doing our live conferences in Mexico City and maybe Sao Paulo and maybe even Santiago. I've never been there, but I understand it's a very beautiful country. And so how far off the coast from Santiago is Easter Island?
Yes, yes. Like an island, Easter Island is very expensive place to be because the long distance that they have with the continental.
I'm sorry, we're breaking up. We really can't get what you're saying. If you'd like to come back to that question in just a moment, that'll be cool. Emily Braun, you've recently been on a tour of a month and a half or so of touring around different places because you want to be authentic and honest and very helpful in your international lifestyle consulting. So tell us a little bit about your recent experiences in Mexico. I watched the video where you talked with a medical professional. I think it was Mazatlan, but I'm not sure. Tell me about that.
The interview I think you are referencing to, it's actually a medical professional coordinator from the private hospital in famous Ajijic village in Lake Chapala. It's a Jalisco state. And I took my time. It's actually not my first personal investigation tour in Mexico, but as I calculated, number 5, actually to visit the different states in Mexico and see how they're doing after pandemic. We still, but going after pandemic period. And my interest to Mexico is sincere and for the last 3 years. And actually, I'm myself partially relocating to Mexico, and it's part of my business interest. And for me, it was interesting to see how different states of Mexico and expat communities are doing at this time. And this professional, I was just lucky to meet him. It was an impromptu interview, just to give Americans and Canadians, perspective of what they can expect in regards to medical and health insurance, because obviously it's one of the first questions people are asking me and themselves before they relocating.
Interesting, isn't it? Felipe, can we hear you again?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, very good. Very good.
Sadly, using the phone as an emergency, I have an income call that
Oh, there's always something going on. Okay,
yes.
so are businesses in Santiago competing with Mexico companies, or do you work together?
I can say that it's very competitive market, mainly Santiago region, because it has the 40% of the total of the Chilean population concentrated in the metropolitan area. And it's a very small size of population comparing with Mexico, due to just only Mexico City has the entire size of the world population in Chile, 17 million of population just in Mexico City, and it's almost the world population in Chile. So the companies here are very competitive due to we have some developments in the retail market, expanded to the world territory, and the IT and technological developments are growing with a consistent frequency.
Great. Emily, back to you. Would you like to ask a question? Let's go around the horn here. Ask a question, Emily, to Felipe.
Yes, I would say I know enough about Mexico and trends of relocation and remote work over the last years in Mexico. I know much less about Chile. And I know that Chile is pretty developed country in Latin American world. I know enough, but speaking about remote work or immigration rules, does Chile anything lately in regards to attract more professionals? How Chile is open to accept new people from other countries?
Felipe?
Pleased to clear your doubts regarding Chile. Chile, since 10 years ago, was defined as the more competitive business platform in Chile regarding his past strong economic situation. Sadly, nowadays we are facing, like the rest of the world, an inflationary pricing scenario, and the economy is not so good than 10 years ago. So that has made the basis to create an inbound of a lot of expats that came along the foreign investment. In Chile, the foreign investments are mainly going for the mining sector, that is very strong in Chile, and all the mining specialized providers for the mining industry coming from abroad. And also, we have another effect regarding the economic growing is coming with more foreign investment. And then the current situation is different because nowadays we have a 7.5% of inflation rate. And that means the labor market is still a little bit constrained. So in general terms, we have a very good reception of specialized professionals that came mainly along companies that pay the relocation for them to develop their career in Chile.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
Stop dreaming and start living overseas. International lifestyle consultant Emily Braun can help you seamlessly transition to your new life in your dream destination. Whether you are a retiree, a digital nomad, or a mobile executive, Emily Braun can make your transition overseas a success. Visit emilybraun.com.
Coutalis is a global group with a worldwide footprint. With 16 agencies in 10 countries, Coutalis offers companies and mobile professionals a unique combination of HR services and options. Find us at coutalis.com.
Take your communication skills to the next level. Barbara Bolt of Bolt Global has a passion to make you shine. As our globe expands, effective intercultural communication and presentation is a must. Visit boltglobal.com.
So Rigo, and we'll get right back to you, Felipe, and I welcome you to jump in anytime and make a comment or ask a question. You don't have to wait for me. Rigo, Mexico is a big country. I mean, it goes for 1,000 miles or more. And it's very different from one area to another. I'm somewhat familiar with that, but not as much as you guys are. So Mexico is an attraction for world commerce because of the population, of course, but also as a springboard to set up in Mexico, as opposed to another country in Latin America. Or do you think, Rigo, it's really better to have multiple headquarters because the countries are so different, populations are different?
I think it depends on the type of talent you are looking for sure. I think Felipe can let us know what, let's say, the biggest talent they have in Chile. In Mexico, currently, we have, let's say, good engineers or good technicians for IT. So Mexico is definitely a good hub for that industry. However, let's say probably in Argentina, Chile, or other Central American countries, they may have some other specialities. But yeah, I think at this point, Mexico offer good advantages. And we have the, let's say, the advantage of being a big country. So perhaps if we compare with Chile, that could be a little bit hermetic, but at the end, it depends on what you're looking for and the circumstances around the investment.
Yeah, so with the price of oil so high, Mexico is a very large resource, and more power to you. I mean, it's great for the economy and helping you take care of all your social needs with that new influx of revenue. So, of course, everybody's paying too much for gas, but but the derivative effects are actually excellent, not just for you guys, but for here in the U.S. So the U.S., as you know, is reshoring, or in other words, pulling back manufacturing from Asia. They'll still do it over there. You know, companies are still there, but they're spending huge amounts of money to build up, like, for instance, semiconductor manufacturing and everything connected with that, chip industry. Right here in next door is Arizona, and the Taiwan Semiconductor Corporation, which is the largest chip provider to Apple, is investing like $2 billion right now into Arizona to make chips. Intel, which is Silicon Valley based anyway, has been manufacturing stuff, chips and some other things, in Phoenix metro, and they're doubling down. And their manufacturing facilities are expanding right in Mexico, right in Arizona. And also there's been just a new announcement that the Korean company LG has a division that makes chips. So they're going to invest 1.4 billion into the area where Intel and the Taiwan investments are. So this area, which is just a little southeast of downtown Phoenix, the town center is called Chandler, which used to be nothing but orange groves and crops, and now it's huge economic boom. Anyway, Mexico, because it's a convenient location for the US and Canada, has everything going for it to also attract this kind of growth, and people relocating for retirement or work from anywhere. And this is exactly what Emily Braun is a specialist and an authentic resource. So I see a lot of growth developing for you, Rigo, as well as for Emily, and I'm really happy to be talking about it and providing this platform. Rigo, tell us more about the companies that are into high tech who are already involved in Mexico. I think just to the north near Monterrey and some other locations is really the center of that, isn't it?
Yeah, Monterrey, Mexico City, and I think also Guadalajara, those three main.
Guadalajara, right.
Yeah, Jalisco, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they keep coming here. So I think it's certainly an industry that it's about to grow in the next 10 years, for sure. And yeah, I mean, we're making some alliances with the US, Canada, which at the end that will take off a little bit the dependency we have from Asia in general. So that's kind of the things that we are doing here. And yeah, I think on the other side, let's say on my own field, from the immigration perspective, that's also complicating a little bit the things, as now every time the immigration authorities are requiring more and more restrictions and more paperwork to come here. So that's kind of the things that at the end, the government is trying to attract more foreign talent, but they, at the same time, they restrict some of those things. So yeah, I think we are in a good situation to keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. So the long-term economic development of Mexico will be spread out, not just concentrated in the same old established centers, because there's a need, particularly in southern Mexico, to employ people. So let's talk about immigration. Certainly from the south of Mexico, there's movement of people trying to get to the US, and they come through Mexico. And so now Mexico has a problem with all these people, and what do you do with them? And how are they cared for? And so we're not going to talk about crime or gangs or anything like that. This is not that platform. Let's talk about Ukraine people coming to Mexico. Are there special immigration facilities put into place immediately, special to bring in people from Ukraine safely?
Yeah, I mean, they are not fixed properties, but there is like kind of basic stuff they can access immediately. And at least I think for at least 1 year, they can be safe. They can have a place where to live, basically, let's say, where to survive. So
do they need a sponsor to get that privilege, or is it just open?
It's just open, and I think at this point the government is sponsoring, and perhaps maybe in the next months some companies will take care of sponsor some of those expenses.
Right. So I'm aware that a lot of Ukraine people who are running away from the terrible things going on there want to go back. They're just looking for safety right now. And our special guest, Emily Braun, is originally many years ago from Ukraine. Emily, why don't you give us some updated info from your view, what's going on?
What exactly you mean? In
yeah, about people coming, from Ukraine, coming into Mexico. Are you involved in any of that yet?
Not yet. I was looking actually for organization, generally speaking, which are helping Ukrainians. I know that there is a kind of open visa situation in Mexico as well, and as Canada. I know that many Ukrainians coming to Canada because there is a big Ukrainian community, like originally, which kind of like helping them to survive. In my perspective, I see advantages of Mexico but disadvantages for Ukrainians because they don't speak Spanish. I'm not speaking good Spanish as well, but I'm speaking English.
Me
So,
neither.
and I am kind of accustomed to life in North America, and I'm familiar with Mexico. From my side, I would have been interested to, collaborate with some organization in Mexico to help people to navigate to Mexico. I can only tell that from my experience, and by the way, yesterday I hosted 2 people, refugees from Ukraine in my home.
Way to go. Wow.
That yeah, that just not related to me, just because I was asked. So there are professional and young generation. There is a lot of software professionals. There is a lot of engineers which can work actually remotely at the beginning, and Mexico is good for remote work. But actually, to be, it's advantage, if you can say, in this situation, to use these people, to give them not only work permit, but actually employment, so people would stay in the country and would contribute and actually would be happy to live in Mexico, not just for the year while war is happening, but let's face the reality, Ukraine is destroyed and they continue to destroy it. Like, how many years would have been needed to put it back, to the situation of living? Canada is super expensive country to live. So yes, so the same people would have survived, I believe, somehow better in Mexico because of cost of living and climate rather than, in Canada, my perspective. In Canada, they have relatives in Ukrainian community. But by the way, there is some small community of people who might help, Ukrainians to go to Mexico, but it's still, small door which should be opened. So I can help if needed to spread the, news, but it should come from Mexican government.
So, Emily, do you have specific questions that you'd like to ask Felipe?
Yes, I'm interested, maybe not now, but to be informed in the future about, special rules or what the Mexican government doing in regards to attract more professionals to Mexico. And why I'm asking, I'm following the news in Europe and in other countries about, opening digital nomad visa, about other type of visa which attracting people, say, to Portugal. Spain came with a visa. I know that Mexico has similar kind of visa, but it's kind of less known in between people. So I think Mexico has a lot to offer, but it should be kind of done on a more open, scale to attract professionals. And the same question I had to Felipe, because I don't know what Chile is doing in this regard. I know Chile is far away, even to fly and to get to. But for professional remote workers, it might be interesting if there are some opportunities and incentives. Now we're speaking in business terms. What are incentives for people to work and come to this or other country?
Yes. Chile has a very, very light immigration law that nowadays is an issue because we have received non-professionals immigrants from Venezuela, from Colombia, and from Haiti. So they are not professionals. They are escaping from an economic situation, mainly at Venezuela, with an hyperinflation that is very awful for them. And we have an irregular immigration issue because we have thousands and thousands volume of persons coming in an irregular way from the north of Chile. They are crossing the desert and they come outside the customs. So in terms of the legal immigration, you can come into Chile like a tourist with a tourist visa that is valid within 90 days. And you can get a hiring contract and you get your work permit. You can work as a tourist. So you have to leave the country fulfill the 90 days, and then you can come again. So that is a way to work that multinational companies, when they hire a person, the right way to manage an immigration process is to create the contract before the coming of the person to Chile, and they had an immigration permit for the title person, that the hired person and their relatives, the more closer relatives. I mean the husband or wife and children. And they had a temporary visa to work for 1 year, and it's renewable if the contract is ended, if they got a new contract, or in case the contract is longer than 1 year. So at the second year, they had to apply to a visa renewal, and in the visa renewal, they got their national ID when they had more than 5 years working in Chile as a foreign person. That's the right way to hire and come and get in Chile the talent coming from abroad. So in Chile, the law is non-regulated regarding the irregular immigration, and that's the main issue. In summary, nowadays in Chile, you have more regular immigration than foreign professionals, expats coming to Chile.
Thank you. Emily, do you have a specific question for Rigo?
The same question, because when I was listening to Felipe, yes, I understand the challenges of the country, but I don't see how, say, Ukrainians, actually mostly women and children, can come to Chile. Because first of all,
yes, let me comment regarding that, because in Chile we have another barrier that I have commented in other times with Ed and Rigo. The language barrier in Chile is huge. If you have an Ukrainian, that person is bilingual. I mean, they speak Ukrainian, their mother tongue, and then English. That's the universal language. So in Chile, a few professional person speaks English, and in case they have the opportunity to get a job, a non-qualified job, that is the most offer of job that you can find, like a refugee, it's very hard because people doesn't speak English like in Mexico, where the people can speak more widely in different level or sectors of society. That's the main barrier. And another sadly failed case has been a few years ago, 4 years ago, Chile performed a program to receive Syrian refugees. And Syrian refugees asked to go back to Syria because they haven't been able to adapt to the Chilean culture. And the cultural item is very important to consider, beside the language and beside the economical conditions of the country, that is a reflex of the job market, because people want stability, people want to work, and all that factors are very important to consider before to go as a refugee to another country.
Thank you. So Felipe, do you have a specific question of Emily?
Yes, for Emily, I would like to question regarding the remote work, because I have a very close friend of mine, and that is he's a digital nomad, and it's very interesting his model, because he has left Chile and he is working during 90 days in one country and is leaving the country to go to another. It's a kind of tour from within all the region, within all Latin America, and working remotely for a foreign IT company. Some kinds of profiles or some kind of jobs permits to perform the remote work. So I would like to question, what is your definition? How can you define the remote work versus the hybrid work model? Hybrid versus remote.
definition in Canada and United States, as far as I know, hybrid, when person is working remotely, but maybe 2-3 times a day need to come to the office. So to be physically, adjusted or close to the place of work, while fully remote worker is free to go and live in different countries. So the remote position can be done, and company agree with this contract. Can be done from any place. And
So
this,
I just want to jump in for a second. You obviously mean a week, not a day. So the hybrid is because it's very confusing, because some companies say 2 days a week or 3 days a week, and others do. So it's crazy making, isn't it, Emily?
yes, because company like big corporation don't want actually to lose the power and control of the employees. So they requiring people to come or to be on hold, 2-twice days a week. So you still need to leave your country, or you will be fired from your work, or you need to go out. But digital nomads and millennials, why they really prefer other lifestyle like this, because they look for the freedom to move from country to country. And so far, yes, you say there are the rules of spending from 3 months maybe to 6 months, as Mexico is excellent example. You can spend 6 months in country as a tourist, even it's a little bit more hard now, working from the country. It's big advantage, by the way, for Latin America. I mean, for Spanish-speaking people, because there is no, at least, language barrier, and people can move from country to country.
Right. Interesting.
And I feel that it's already a growing factor, and it's a future for this generation to select the country they would prefer to live and work from.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We are pleased to welcome Adamo Education as a proud sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
The concept of a microschool is the reimagining of the one-room schoolhouse. My name is Tamara Becker. I'm the president and CEO of Adamo Education. The microschool concept really does not just lend itself to the personalization and the customization of learning, but also the social development and fostering that sense of love for learning. Unlike what we see in traditional brick and mortar schools, we have multiple grade levels in the same learning space. Students can be enriched by the socialization that they get, as well as the academic support from peers. What differentiates Adamo is the fact that we are taking the best pieces of brick and mortar, of digital, and then at-home learning. Students here can come 5 days a week. They can come 4 hours a day. It will really just depend on what is best for the student and for the parent. To enroll, just reach out via phone, text, or email, and we'll have that personalized conversation, and we'll be able to get you all set. Check us out at adamoeducation.org.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Rigo, do you have a specific question of Emily?
Yeah, and this is more for, let's say, the Canadian nationals that they wish to come to Mexico to invest, let's say, to build a company from scratch, or probably just to retire or just for vacation. But considering that Canada, it's a very, very expensive country, and the conditions in there are probably not the best in terms of the weather and things like that. So what will be like the 3 main challenges that you think a Canadian national may face when they are willing to come to Mexico? Because as you are aware, Mexico is huge, so it's not the same go and live in Mexico City versus go and live in Yucatan or in Monterrey. There is like a lot of perspective. So what would you think that they may consider? I mean, they would prefer to stay in Monterrey rather than in Mexico City. I have heard some foreigners, perhaps they say, I love Mexico, but except Mexico City. So where is the perspective from the Canadian community to come here and live?
I can speak only for, it's my opinion. Canadians are a very big country with the different people having different opinions. But what I'm what I'm offering, the differences to explain people the differences between different states and different areas and for different type of people. Because what you just mentioned, retirees, it's completely different priorities. It's what people are looking for, climate and, expat communities. For professionals, I would, depending on industry, I would recommend to go to Monterrey or say to Querétaro or to Aguascalientes, depending what work they're looking for. And as I crossed recently 7th state of Mexico, I obviously noticed the differences between states. That's why people should be clear, but sometimes they just don't have this experience and knowledge that depending on your age, professional expertise, and actually what you're looking for, you might be better in different parts of Mexico. Speaking about Mexico City, many Mexicans are leaving the city because I like Mexico City, but as I say, it's crazy. It's very big, like you need to go out. So always depend on a specific situation. Culturally, I can tell that what I experienced, businesses, we used to good customer service. We in Canada and United States, which not often I found in Mexico. Like people are very welcoming, but from company perspective, they're not oriented to satisfy customer. They oriented to satisfy themselves. There is a big difference. And they're not always open to collaboration as a companies. I'm offering my help, I'm offering as a company, and they don't want to react. Like, I have still, I notice how different the attitude is. So I'm still working on it.
Yeah, Rigo?
Yeah, I mean, the customer service mindset, it's something very interesting. But yeah, I fully agree on that. And perhaps we need to work on it to enhance that skill.
That's funny. Well, I have to tell you, when I produced our live conferences a few years ago in Palenque, our host sponsor was Ernst & Young, and they were very, very kind and accommodating. I mean, it was really wonderful working with them. But I would imagine in more everyday situations and everyday, quote unquote, everyday locations, standoffish, private.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
an additional, a lot of bureaucratic rules and changes recently, obviously in every country, but long lines to wait. I couldn't get my RFS number. I couldn't do this and this, which, and I was trying in 2 states. So kind of, I understand it's a way to work too, but it's the first what I can tell you answering the questions that people, and we should have more patience because we used to, many things doing online. It's not working yet in Mexico.
Yeah. Felipe, do you have specific questions of Rigo?
Yes. Mexico is an interesting country, as an interesting market to the landing for perspective as question. Mexico, we are looking at as a potential market, not only in Mexico City, in other big states like Monterrey or Puebla that are a very industrial hub there. So my question regarding your wide corporate experience, because I know very well your career, under your perspective, which are the new trends on hiring or the new hiring policies that are setting the standard in Mexico and for the region?
Yeah, I think probably that changed a little bit since the pandemic, because what I saw when the pandemic happens is that from suddenly they were having job opportunities, but we were, let's say, competing for only one position. They were competing about 100 Mexicans for one single position. So that was chaotic. The other thing that it happens is that perhaps currently we are not competing only with Mexicans, we are also competing with even Americans, even people from India, and from all over the world, especially as nowadays everybody can work from anywhere. So that's one thing that it happens first. The second thing that it happens to me personally, it was the fact that I looked for a job like 1 year ago, and I found that the new way of recruiting people, it's more rely on technology, which is through bots. That was scary for me because my first job interview that I had about 15 years ago was personal, and now it's through bots, which means that you need to introduce yourself through a voice message. You need to record a video of yourself of 2 minutes to introduce yourself and so on. So that kind of things are reinventing the industry. And probably if you work for a very small company, that's not like the main filter they apply. But if you want to work for Walmart, in Walmart, they may have about 100 or 200, 300 people applying for the same position. So it's basically impossible to interview all of these 3 people or to review all of these 3 CVs. So they automatize the process, and it's changing a lot, but at the end, it's what is happening here.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Artificial intelligence are defining your career.
Yeah.
Scary.
I know, yeah.
So as we come to a close here, I'd like to ask everybody a particular question about, here we are at the end of May. Already the year is almost half over, really fast. Did you notice in Chile, is the Earth spinning faster than before? Felipe?
What about Chile? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, right. I'm making a joke. Do you feel that the Earth is spinning faster?
Every day, every hour. Now we are at the end of a week, at the end of a month. It's a madness. I don't know if I'm getting older or the Earth is spinning faster. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's a phenomenon.
Well, I welcome you back again, and we'll watch you age.
Yes, we have to review our IT.
Rigo, thanks a lot for being on the program again, and let's do this again in June. Okay, Felipe, is that okay? Yeah, and Emily, thank you again for being a member of the Global Press Club. And, you guys ought to join also, but more about that later. We're expanding, and we have a number of new programs that we're setting up for the summer. One of them is a training program. It's called Upskill and Reskill. Whatever that means. It means workers or people like me and you guys, we have to learn new tricks. Like in the last 2 years, I've learned how to be a happy talk show host, but others have learned how to do, who have learned how to write a book, or they've gone back to college and became a doctor or a PhD. Or people have learned about becoming an immigration expert because of the boom in that business, right, Rigo? There's, Newland Chase is a large operation, many multicultural. But so in your company, Newland Chase, it's a big outfit, and it's owned by what, a bank or some kind of big company, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the big companies saw a need for their own people, but also to offer the service to others.
Yeah, and even to provide some kind of outsourcing or recruiting new teams globally or massively. So yeah, that's kind of the trends we see here.
Yeah. So Emily, are you going to do another tour somewhere, or are you going to go back in and go deeper into Jalisco or in Cabo or you're also looking into Belize and Costa Rica and Panama, right?
I'm currently not planning more than for the month or two in advance because of all changes happening. Because like in March, actually no, in January I was planning in June to go to Bulgaria and to visit Eastern Europe. Look, it's not going to work for me now.
Right.
I definitely would be in Mexico in a fall time. Depending on what I'm looking around on what's going on, like politically, economically in Canada and other countries. So I'm definitely planning, but so far I'm just back home. I need to make order of my things here and actually to let people know about what's going on in Mexico to help some people to relocate and maybe businesses as well, because I'm making more connection. I made some business connection in Mexico, and we're working now together for things to happen.
I'm really happy to hear that, and I want you to come back on our program in June and give us another view. Rigo, I invite you, of course, again, and Felipe, if you want to invite somebody, if each of you want to invite somebody else to join us, we don't want to get too big, because then we won't have that proximity for intimacy. And then everybody wants to talk more. So that's okay. It makes my job easier. I don't have to talk. But so, Rigo, I thank you again. We very much would welcome Newland Chase to become more involved with us, of course, as we expand this series. As I mentioned briefly, we're starting a channel, if you will, of education resources. A major one is this thing called Upskill and Reskill, and it has to do with, it's based upon what the World Economic Forum recently published, a list of essential new skills that everybody's got to learn because of how the World Economic Forum says the world is going to be changing. And so a lot we already know about, but I'm looking now for coaches, trainers to come on the talk show with me. We're going to do one of those shows every week, a different topic. And then, of course, we'll put them in a library and package them. So it's the Global Press Club where we finally figured out how to make that work, and that's part of the new growth. So Felipe, I welcome you, and I welcome more information about Chile.
Pleased to be here. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
So with you guys, Chile and Mexico, would it be okay if I have someone from Argentina?
Why not?
That's fine.
I have invited someone, but it's a little bit hard to invite. I will insist with him, and that's my commitment, because it depends of him.
Right,
Argentina is very closer to Chile, because of geography.
It's just over the mountains, right?
Yes, our neighbor. And it's a really interesting country, because the economy are going down. The inflation rate is around 50%. So they have a lot of industries developed in there. It's a very interesting case of study. Should be very interesting to get an Argentinian made here.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to have people from Belize and Costa Rica and Colombia, I have to say it right, and Ecuador and Panama. We very much want to open to Brazil, of course, everybody, to have the Latin America series grow. and to be a supplement, an additive, not a replacement for what anybody else is doing. We just want to bring people together on this platform. So thank you again for doing this. This is Ed in San Diego. There's Felipe in Santiago, Rigoberto in Mexico City, and Emily Braun, who's now back in Toronto, but has been all over Mexico recently, learning about the area and setting up a business. So thank you again for being on Global TV. Okay, we're going to sign off and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everyone, bye.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.